Howdy, I'm Cowboy Ken. Welcome to the Drop Zone. Today we're on location in Orem, Utah. I'm here with my good friend Tim Vincent. How in the heck are you, Tim?
Well, a little lack of sleep, but I'm doing okay.
I understand you got a lot of stuff going on. Now, me and Tim go back quite a few years. We used to work together. I've known him for quite a while. Tim's got some challenges going on right now, and Tim, tell us about it.
Well, it all started about 8 years ago. Orem City decided they wanted to widen the road in front of my house because they were going to do a big development of a 300 plus apartment complex at the end of this road. So they wanted Orem City to widen this road and throw 30 plus people out of their homes. Anyways, they passed that, but they got a new mayor in and they canceled it. And so the new mayor said, we're not going to do it anymore. So all of a sudden they got some push from a state of Utah guy to still want to do it. So Orem City washed their hands of this road and gave it to the state of Utah.
Now wait a minute. They want to widen the road, so they're going to take out an entire row of houses. Am I right?
30 plus houses on this side of the road, yes.
Forcing them out of their house. Now, how long have you lived here?
Combined about 40 years. Well, more like 30. I grew up in this house, and then when one of my parents died, I bought this house. I've been here 20 years.
Oh my gosh. So this is your home that you grew up in, and you've owned it outright. Am I correct?
I've owned it outright for 20 plus years.
Oh my goodness. Now, 350 apartments or something up here going up the end of the road. They need to end it, but they didn't get that to go through. But still, they want to widen the road. Am I right?
Correct. They canceled the apartment deal. The Orem City turned it down, but they're getting pressure from people to still widen the road. So they gifted this road to the state of Utah. And then the state of Utah came in and says, we're still going to widen it. We did a study, but it's not going to be till at least 2030 or longer. So at least 7 years down the road. So I'm like, okay.
So you had a whole lot of time to think about it, and you didn't think that was going to be a problem.
Well, I figured in 7 years my daughter might be married or moved out or gone, and I'd have 7 years to clean out my garage and go through my house and then move on. But then all of a sudden I get a phone call from a state of Utah person that says, we moved it ahead. I'm like, well, how soon? He says, you need to be out in 2 to 3 months.
Whoa! Out of the blue, they called you and said you got three months.
Yep.
Now, what have they offered? I mean, they just don't say you got to vacate. What's going on there?
They said, don't hire a real estate agent. We'll take care of it. We will replace everything you have. We'll find you the same house or better, the same size yard or better, and the same garage or better than what you have. And we'll pay moving expenses and all this stuff.
Well, that sounds pretty good, unless they lowball you like they normally do. This is what they call eminent domain. Am I right?
Correct. Eminent domain.
But 30 houses that have been here, people living in them, lived here all his life. Oh my gosh. Now go ahead.
So then they had an appraiser contact me and set up an appraisal, and they're like, there's no comps in the area because you got a really big yard with a really big shop out back with the house with the rentable basement, and there's nothing for sale right now. So we're going to split your yard in half, and we're going to appraise the house on the front property and the shop on the back property. I'm like, okay. So the guy came here and did it, and then I didn't hear anything from him for almost 3 months.
Oh my gosh, okay. Well, it takes some time, but in the meanwhile, you had your own appraisal come by, right?
After the acquisition agent called me at 7 p.m. at night and says, you've just been notified. You have 3 months from today to be out of your house, and we give you an offer on your house, and you have 30 days to accept it.
What if you don't accept it?
Well, since the first guy called me, I've met with 4 different real estate agents. They looked at my home. They gave me a price of what it's worth, so I started looking for homes in that value. I still couldn't even find a house this size with a shop and a rentable basement for what the real estate agents were telling me. And then when the acquisition guy called me and says, this is where we're going to give you, I'm like, that's about $300,000 plus lower than what 5 different real estate agent people have told me.
They're cheap buggers, folks. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, it sounds just like government, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. So what's the next step? What's going on now?
Well, they said we're going to give you some hardship money for your trouble and blah blah blah, which equaled to quite a bit of money, a little over $100,000. I'm like, well, that's great, but you're still at least $200,000 low from what I've been looking at similar homes. Like, well, you need a new roof and you need your kitchen remodel. I'm like, well, I was in the middle of all that when this all started, and I put a stop to it because you guys said that didn't matter. You're just going to go off the square footage of your home and same size lot.
Wait a minute. Why does it need a new roof and a new kitchen when they're gonna tear it down? Am I right?
Exactly. But that's why they said my appraiser from the appraiser that the state of Utah is paying to appraise it was super low.
Oh my goodness gracious, that just bites the big one. So it's gonna, if you want to fight it in court, tons of money. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've contacted several lawyers, and they guaranteed me they could get at least 150 more grand out of the state. The state does not want to negotiate with me at all. They just keep saying, well, if you want to hire a lawyer, go ahead and do it.
Oh my gosh, folks. The government, state government, local government, doesn't mind federal government. They forget who they work for. It's we, the people, do not work for them. We're not at their beck and call. They are to serve us, and people are getting screwed every day. Tim, if somebody wanted help out or just complain, what do you think they ought to do?
Contact Cowboy Ken or me, I guess. I don't know.
Wait a minute. No, we need to call the state and local, tell them, hey, this sucks. And I'll use the word, it bites, it sucks, it's kicking people out of their homes so some bigwig up there can get a faster way home. What a load of crap. Oh my gosh.
That's one thing I found out about from the appraiser, from the acquisition agent, and from a state of Utah employee told me that the only reason this got pushed ahead is because there's a big Utah politician, I think of the Utah State Legislature, that lives up on the hillside above me, that pushed this road above any other road for the next 7 years to be widened so we can get home earlier. I drive all day around for my job all day, and like out by Eagle Mountain, Saratoga, I mean out that way, they need roads help way more than this road here in Orem.
Oh yeah, well folks, that's the story. I just found out about this. And goodness gracious, I drove up to Tim's house. I said, let's get this out. So you got a couple of more things here to go.
Yeah, so I just got on Google, just put a Utah State approved appraiser, just called one out of the phone book basically, and I paid for my own appraisal, and it came out at a lot more money than the state of Utah wants to give me. So I called the state of Utah and told them that. It says, oh, it doesn't matter, we just go off ours. I'm like, hey, this is an appraisal for way more than you're offering me. And then they said they'd give me some hardship money, which I told you already about, the $100,000.
Oh, and there's got some strings attached to it, folks. Listen to this.
So I was like, okay, well, give me the money and I'll go find a house. I found a house in Linden close by, but there's no garage, smaller lot and everything. I says, well, I'm just going to go buy this and I'll have some extra money to build me a garage like I have now. They says, nope, you can't do that. You got to spend what we're giving you or we can't give it to you. So they're dictating to me how much I can spend on a house, another one.
Sounds like government bullshit to me. This is Cowboy Ken along with Tim Vincent from Orem, Utah. Get on the phones, get on in the emails, tell them this really sucks. What's the date today? Almost the 1st of October. It's 30th of September today. Tomorrow's the 1st of October. Melt the phones down. This sucks. If you're going to tear up and kick them out of their houses, at least give them what their houses is worth. Cowboy Ken, Tim Vincent from the Drop Zone. That is all.